"That looks like trouble," Viggo said with a grim smile. He was pointing to a spot of blood in front of them on the path. "Don't even think about it," Ingrid warned him from where she was riding beside him. "We need to get involved here, Blondie." His expression suggested that they had no other option, and he gestured toward the forest, following the trail with his index finger. "Don't call me Blondie, or I'll give you what for. And we don't have to get involved. This situation's got nothing to do with our mission." Viggo stroked his horse's neck. "Aren't you the one who's always saying the Rangers are the defenders of the people of Norgana, of the lands of the realm, of the defenseless, of the destitute, and I don't know how many more tear-jerkers like that?" "Yes, we are, and they're not tear-jerkers. Didn't you learn anything at the camp and then the shelter?" "Of course I learnt something. That so much work and suffering makes you old." He pointed to her face, and his look and smile said, "I'm really sorry about that." "By all the ice gods! Why do I have to put up with him? Why?" she cried to the heavens. "You're insufferable." "Deep down, you're crazy about me. We both know these tantrums are just your way of hiding it." He gave her a nonchalant smile. Ingrid took Punisher and aimed at him with the tiny bow. There was fire in her eyes. She seemed genuinely prepared to pierce his heart with an accurate arrow. "Deep down and on the surface, I hate you," she snapped back, without releasing her arrow. "Wonderful. Now you've got your weapon ready, let's go and deal with this little matter. We've been riding for days since we left the camp, and they've been incredibly boring. I fancy a little action. My muscles are getting cramped from disuse." "The thing that's getting cramped is that tiny brain of yours. We're not going to get involved. We're going to go on with the mission they've given us." "You'll thank me later," he said, and dismounted with an agile movement. "Stop!" she ordered, but he was already making his way into the forest, following the trail of blood and cart tracks. "If you insist on going, I'm not going to help you. You'll be on your own." "See you in a while," Viggo replied. He raised a hand without turning his head, as if he were merely heading to the canteen for a good time. "You're an unbearable pain in the neck. You're going to come to a bad end." Viggo ignored her comment and followed the trail into the bushes. There had been an attack here, he was certain. Judging by the marks on the ground, he guessed that a group taking 3 carts with a heavy load had been attacked at that spot on the road. They were so visible to the trained eye of a ranger that there was no need for him to get off his horse to inspect them more closely. He moved on a little, and this time he stopped to check the trail. It was one thing to be sure of himself and his skills as a ranger, but a very different one to be so conceited as to go headlong into the wolf's den. He was what he was, but at the same time he always took good care to avoid mistakes, particularly when there were lives at stake, as was the case here. And apart from that, his own too would be in danger very soon. He knelt down and studied the tracks. He counted 5 assailants who were dragging the bodies of the men they had attacked and probably killed. They were big, heavy men. He could tell by the depth and size of their footprints. These were bigger than his own, so he knew he was going to confront the kind of Norganian who scared people. At least, they scared most men, but not many things scared him, and a handful of huge Norganians was not one of them. Still, he was aware that if he made a mistake, it might cost him his life, so he was wary. He always was. When he went deeper into the undergrowth, following the trail, he found the bodies of 3 men hidden among foliage. He got down on one knee to examine them. They were armed guards, the kind you hired with gold. They must have been protecting the caravan. Unfortunately, that particular job had been the final one of their careers. Armed guards meant that the carts were carrying something valuable. He checked the trail, which here forked in 2. On one side was that of the carts, heading north. On the other, that of the 3 men who were dragging another, heading east toward an ash wood. He decided to follow the carts and see what he would find there. In the city, they always said you had to follow the gold, the valuable merchandise, which would inexorably lead you to the ultimate guilty party. He would soon find out.
Para seguir escuchando este audiolibro gratuitamente, haz clic en el enlace de la descripción y podrás escucharlo completo sin coste gracias a la prueba de 30 días de Audible.